Association, which has 3.2 million members, although most of them are primary and secondary school teachers. The AFT is affiliated with the AFL-CIO, the giant labor federation, unlike the AAUP and the NEA. At my home institution, the State University of New York, we have both a faculty senate and a union, and both are very effective in speaking for the faculty. We choose their members, and they, in turn, speak for us. And there's a substantial membership participation. Naturally, these organizations provide faculty members with enhanced power and set limits to the prerogatives of administrators and trustees on college and university campuses. As you might expect, those who prefer an authoritarian model have resisted this expansion of democracy. David Horowitz and other right-wing extremists have sought to discredit faculty around the nation, claiming that these faculty do no more than propagandize for left-wing, anti-American, and terrorist policies. This is part of a right-wing campaign to have government police academic life and to destroy tenure. Furthermore, the Supreme Court, in its Yeshiva University decision, has ruled that in private colleges, I'm not quite sure why they chose private colleges rather than all colleges, but in private colleges, faculty are really supervisors. They're really bosses, said the court, and thus are not entitled to collective bargaining guarantees under the National Labor Relations Act. This court's decision has not destroyed all unions on private college campuses, but has made life more difficult for those that have survived, or for faculty on private campuses that would like to unionize. And finally, of course, there is RPI, where there is no faculty union and where the president has recently scrapped the faculty senate. Although I am an outsider, I would like to make a modest proposal to you folks at RPI. Demand the restoration of your faculty senate. And if the administration refuses to accept that demand, form a faculty union and use the absence of faculty governance to explain why the Yeshiva decision should be moot in the case of RPI. That is, you have no faculty governance. You can't be bosses. You can't administer at all. Above all, never give up the struggle for democracy in government or in the workplace. Democracy is too precious to surrender to power-hungry administrators, trustees, or other petty tyrants. Thank you. Okay. Any questions? No? Okay. It's my job, I guess. Oh, no? Okay.
Agrees with the fact that since the Senate's been dissolved, Yeshiva doesn't apply to us anymore.
I thought, as a power-hungry administrator and petty tyrant, I would wait until this is all over to comment.
A question was asked.
Oh, I'm not quite sure of the question asked of me.
Oh, I asked him, Chuck.
Oh, all right. Okay. Other questions? Yes.
If I were to summarize what you said, it seems that you suggest in places with unions there's more democracy.
Yes.
You think so?
Yes. Then without unions, yes.
I thought that the main purpose of the union was to secure the greatest benefits for their members. And in what way does that benefit other members of that community?
Well, on a campus or in a factory or in a mine, for example, the union leadership is chosen. Well, first the workers vote for the union, whether or not to have it. And if most members of that that mine workforce or factory workforce or campus workforce have chosen to have a union, then they choose to elect the leadership, and then that leadership proceeds to solicit their input as to what these members want, what this community wants, and they then proceed to negotiate and to bargain with management to secure those goals. They don't always get all those goals, but the goals are not limited simply to wages and hours. They could include ending racial or gender or sexual preference discrimination, and that's often been done by unions, for example. This could include freedom of speech. This can include grievance procedures for all kinds of things. This can include regular labor management meetings. I know on our SUNY Albany campus we have those regular meetings, and so if a librarian feels intimidated by the library dean or his or her supervisor, that librarian's plight is brought right to the campus president and to the campus vice president, and there's sometimes a heated exchange, sometimes not. Sometimes the president says, gee, I didn't know that shouldn't have happened, I'm going to investigate that, and so on. So there are constantly ways that go beyond what we often think of as the limits, limited nature of unions, simply having to deal with money questions and so on, in which workers on the job do receive very substantial benefits. Other questions? Yes.
How does the faculty senate at SUNY work with the union? How does that?
Okay, they're certainly separate bodies, and they're elected in different elections and so on. On the other hand, there's sometimes a substantial crossover of membership and leadership sometimes too. Generally speaking, we work, the union, and I'm in the union leadership, the union works very closely with the faculty senate. So, for example, when our former governor chose a whole range of right-wing trustees for the SUNY system that ferociously harassed us and said there shouldn't be women's studies programs, those kinds of frills like that and so on, and there shouldn't be this happening on the campus.